Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. And to really understand what's happening, I need to take you back to the beginning, where I was living carefree, making music, and trying to fulfill my dreams. This is the story of one of my bands, City by City. This is a story of one of my old bands, City by City. It all started with one of those music forum posts. Back in the early 2010s, finding a band was like dating. It was awkward, it was frustrating, and full of weird people. I was scrolling through one of the musician forums, hoping to find people to jam with. That's when I met Matt. Not me, Matt, but another Matt. Matt was a bassist and already in a band, and he invited me to try out as their drummer. We had a few practices, but the band didn't last. What did last, though, was Matt and I's relationship, hoping to find people to jam with that had the same vision and the same drive. So we started searching for our own bandmates. We went through a lot of people. Some were talented but unreliable, others just weird. At one point, we found another guy named Matt. That's right, we had 3 Matts in one band. Confusing, right? But eventually we found our guy, a guitarist named Andrew. And that's when things really started to take off. We were actually writing songs, finding a sound, building momentum, but something was missing, a voice. We tried out so many singers. Some could barely hold a note. Others had big energy. We even had a guy ask for a few bucks so he could catch the next bus home. Then we met Dylan. Dylan was different. He had this vocal rapper style that somehow worked with our music. When he actually showed up, he sounded amazing. The problem? He was impossible to reach. Missed texts, ghosted practices. It was like trying to track down a mythical creature. Except trying to find Bigfoot, you're trying to find a vocalist at band practice. Still, we kept pushing forward. Even when Dylan was MIA, we wrote our own melodies, lyrics, and vocal ideas. So when Dylan finally showed up, we just spoon-fed his parts. And somehow, it worked. I always wanted to be in a band. Music was my escape. It was a thing that pulled me away from everything else. The stress, the uncertainty, the feeling that it didn't quite fit in anywhere else. Wanted to be famous. I wanted to tour the world. Also wanted to make a living doing what I loved the most. And for a while, I really felt like we were onto something. Over about a year, we wrote 7 full songs, and we decided it was time to record those 7 songs. So we packed up our gear and drove to Las Vegas, where my friend Mitch owned a recording studio. We recorded for 4 days, no distractions, just music. The Las Vegas trip was an adventure, but that's a story for another time. Music is meant to be shared, but what happens when someone takes it? City by City didn't last, but those 7 songs, they did. And years later, I found them again. Only something was off, and this is where things get complicated. But we'll get into that next time.